Hello and welcome again to my channel. Today I'm going to be redesigning Shadow the Hedgehog. He's been a very popular guy lately. I'll have to say that. It's kind of wild to me to see Sonic be so mainstream lately because I have really liked Sonic since I was a young child. I got Sonic Heroes on the original Xbox when I was a child, and that kind of like started it for me because I really loved that game. That was probably one of my favorite childhood games, and it's still like one of my top favorite Sonic games. Well, if not my top one, I would probably say that Sonic Heroes probably is my top one because I really enjoyed playing it so much when I was a kid, and I still really like a lot of the game. But anyway, let's talk a little bit about Shadow. He's a cool guy, isn't he? He certainly, received the most of this popularity that's been going around lately. I think everybody's always like Shadow, but now we've gotten to the point where you have to pay a few $100s to get the Shadow Build-A-Bear on eBay, so he's kind of hit another level of popularity at the moment. And honestly, I guess I'm not really much better because I really love Shadow too. Shadow and Rouge are probably two of my favorite Sonic characters, and I would like to do hopefully like a redesign of Rouge at some point soon, because I've seen like a lot of people like make their interpretations of Sonic characters lately, and I really like that because I like being able to see people interpret the characters into their style and kind of like give their own flair on it. So this is kind of lightly inspired by seeing people make their own designs, and so I was kind of like, well, I think I'll probably kind of like put together everything I feel like is Shadow's essence for me and make a design. So let's talk a little bit about the choices I made in this design. I kind of gave him like more of like a pointy hedgehog face and some pointy little fluffy ears because I think it's if I'm right, I feel like in the Sonic movie, the new Sonic movie, that his ears are like a little pointier and fluffier than Sonic's, and I really like that. So I kind of wanted to, I feel like the shape language in his original designs, especially like the 2D drawings from like Sonic Adventure and stuff like that, Sonic Adventure 2 I mean, I feel like that they're very stylized, and I feel like that was lost a little bit in his movie design. Even I think that was any shape language the design kind of lost was kind of like replaced by cute and fluffy. So I guess it's a okay trade-off. But I really wanted to go for the shape language in my little design here of Shadow, and so I kind of like wanted to push his shapes a little bit as much as I could and give him some clothes. I mean, like, I know the original Sonic characters don't usually wear clothes, but I kind of like the idea of putting them in some clothes, honestly, because I feel like that, like, why don't they wear clothes? I don't really know. I mean, it's fine for them, but I feel like it kind of helps bring out their personality to see what their clothes would be, and there's some characters who do wear clothes in the Sonic universe, so I don't know how they make that decision. I mean, does some of them get cold? I mean, does some of them just decide that they want to be a clothes-wearing little animal and some of them don't? I don't really know. But anyway, gave him a little outfit, tried to give him some drip with the little chain. And if you'll notice on his hand, on his right hand, well, actually it would be his left hand on his side, I gave him a little friendship bracelet, and my headcanon for that is that Shadow and Maria had little matching friendship bracelets, but Shadow lost his, I guess, at some point, but then he found Maria's bracelet when he was, looking around the Space Colony Arc afterward, and he decided to keep it and start wearing it. But yeah, he's got Maria's little bracelet, and he's probably restrung that a couple times, considering all the action he goes through, So he's probably had to sit down and, put the beads back together, and I'm not really sure where it originated from, but I have seen some people online, like, give the headcanon that Shadow had like a little tag on his ear, and I really like that, so I kind of incorporated it into my design where he had a little notch on his ear where he had a tag. So I'm not sure who originally came up with that concept, if anybody did. So, but I did see that online though. Yeah, I had to give him his little rocket shoes like normal. I kind of added some spikes to the bottom because, you know, I just kind of wanted to put some spikes in there. I put some spikes on his little leather jacket and on his shoes. I mean, you can't tell me that if Shadow wore clothes that he wouldn't wear a leather jacket. I feel like that's just kind of a given, honestly. Because, you know, he's a motorcycle dude, so of course he's got to put some leather on. Instead of just like a regular little gun, I decided to give him a blaster gun, like a laser gun. Kind of think like Star Wars, where the laser shoots out. I kind of feel like, honestly, I feel like that's more fitting to the Sonic universe than a traditional one, because I just think it's kind of wild to think about him just like having like a Glock. But, you know, I feel like a laser is kind of like fitting because it's like chaos energy laser. But, you know, that's just like a little addition I put there. Kind of like, if you like it. And honestly, I feel like that Shadow has had a really good characterization in the movie, because I feel like that even though Sonic Boom is very funny and I love Sonic Boom, I feel like his interpretation in that show was honestly like a little, I think a lot of people agree that's kind of just like a parody version of him, because he was just so grumpy and so antisocial that he doesn't really like show any like real character in Sonic Boom besides being annoyed. And I feel like a lot of, before this last year, the year of Shadow, I feel like a lot of like modern games had just kind of just showed his grumpiness without really showing that he really had like, you know, emotion going on and stuff. So it's kind of nice to see them leaning into like Shadow having like feelings, and, you know, besides being mad and grumpy, which is fun to see him mad and grumpy sometimes, but you kind of want to have that balance, I feel like. And I actually have not watched Sonic Prime yet. I've heard that he has been characterized very well in Sonic Prime, so I do plan on trying to watch that, but, you know, I don't have Netflix right now, so I'm gonna have to try to watch it at some point soon, and I probably will, but just hadn't yet. But I look forward to seeing Shadow in that, because I've heard that he's very good in that. And for the colors for Shadow, I did not really color pick Shadow's palette. I just kind of like colored him as I felt was right, because I wanted to kind of like push his color palette a little bit here, I guess you would say, because I wanted to like make the darks not quite as dark, to make his features more visible, and kind of like give him like blue tones, because it's more visually interesting instead of just like black on black and stuff like that. Because I try to make, you know, the palette here very varied, but that's kind of just my style though. I try not to use like pure blacks if I can help it. And, you know, another thing that I've kind of actually liked lately is the Sonic Twitter takeovers. I think they're just so funny. I love the little dynamic they make between Sonic and Shadow in the Twitter takeovers, and they kind of have little jabs at each other and kind of like have some witty banter going on. I love Shadow's characterization in the Twitter takeovers. He is, I feel like, characterized very well in those. And I know it's not Shadow related, but I have been playing Sonic Frontiers lately, and I just love that game. I have not finished it yet, so try not to spoil me. I've kind of already seen a couple spoilers online, but I really love that game so far. I love the open world, and it's probably honestly my favorite Sonic game now, along with Sonic Heroes. I like it that much because I just love open world games. I am a sucker for those, because I just think that it's so fun to just kind of run around and choose what you want to do. But you know, I don't think Shadow's in that one, so that's not really Shadow related, but it was Sonic related. Speaking of Sonic characters in general, is there a character you would like to see me draw in my style and kind of give my interpretation of? Just kind of let me know in the comments below, and I would be very interested to hear. I'd really love to hear your suggestions, but yeah, I feel like I said, I kind of want to do Rouge in the future, and maybe Sonic, because I do love Sonic as a character, honestly. Even though, you know, he's the main guy, I do love Sonic. He's always been one of my favorite Sonic characters too, of course, Sonic himself. And you know, when I was younger, I used to watch like every Sonic show that I possibly could because I really liked Sonic that much. So, you know, in the early, maybe like every Sonic show that had been made earlier in the 2000s and into the mid 2010. So I watched Sonic X. I watched all of Sonic X. I liked Sonic X. And as far as I remember, I really liked Shadow and Sonic X. And I don't think I watched all of Sonic Underground, but I did watch Sonic Underground. I thought that was kind of a crazy ride. That wasn't really my favorite. I didn't really like Sonic Underground as much, because it's kind of like, you know, a bit strange, I guess you would say. But I do like Manic as a character. I think that he's a cute little guy. And the original Sonic the Hedgehog show, cartoon, I guess. I think the fans call it Sad AM. I do not like Sad AM very much, I have to be honest. I'm not a fan of Sad AM, because I felt like the plot lines were very dark for Sonic in a way that's didn't really feel like Sonic, I guess you would say, to me, because I know some of the Sonic plots can go like a little darker, but I did not like the vibes in Sad AM. They just kind of felt like very dreary, I guess. And I'm just not really a big fan of the Sad AM characters, I have to be honest. But I did read a little bit of the Archie comics. I like some of the Archie comics, but again, it's kind of built off of Sad AM, so I'm not really a big fan of Sad AM, so I don't really love the Archie comics, and I have not read all of them. I know there's a bunch of them. I've just read a few. And honestly, I really love the IDW comics, at least as far as I had read them. I need to catch up on them quite a lot, because it's been a few years since I was current with them, so I'll definitely need to catch up with that. But I believe I probably read about the first 40 issues. That's what I think, before I kind of fell off the train, because I was in the habit of going to the comic book store every week at that point, and I kind of just stopped and kind of just fell behind on all the comics that I used to read. So yeah, gotta catch up on some comics. But we are nearing the end of the design here, and what do you think of this guy? What do you think of my Shadow? Honestly, kind of like the way he came out. I think he's pretty cool. I think he came out pretty hip. And I did honestly end up changing the background that I did here. But here he is. Yay! Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you have a great day. God bless.